saying, oh, you're gonna beat me up, or I'm gonna beat you up, or you're gonna kick my ass, I'm gonna kick your ass. It's like, who wants to hear that? Konbanwa minasan, kyo desu. So many of you guys know that I traveled to Japan in 2014 and in 2015. And that was honestly some of the best times I've had in my life. I loved Japan a lot. And one thing about traveling to another country, a lot of times you can see in comparison the faults that your own country has sometimes when you return back to your own country. And that's what I'm going to talk about today in this video. There were a lot of things that I noticed when I came back from Japan that I didn't like in America. A lot of cultural things and things we do wrong, or things that we can do better over here that I felt Japan had a better advantage of doing, or got some things better than America. So here are 5 things that I don't like about American culture that I realized when I came back from Japan. Number 1, America is dirty. To be honest, I was really shocked when I went to Japan for the first time. Even though I researched a lot about it, I was really surprised how clean Japan was. Even for a major city like Tokyo and Kyoto and Osaka, like relatively speaking, the streets were clean. And honestly, to be in a city where there's not many trash cans, you would expect people to litter a lot more. But I was just so shocked how clean it was. And when I came back to America, I just realized how dirty it was, especially when I went to New York in 2018, when I literally saw trash everywhere and how things smelled. Honestly, I thought sometimes in America, you can go to certain places and it feels like you're in a third world country. That's how dirty it is. I mean, poop and pee everywhere. And one thing I also liked about Japan is that when you're walking your dog, even if it's just urine, they actually use water bottles to clean the water off the sidewalk. And what I don't like about America as well is that a lot of people don't pick up after their dogs. So there's a few times in my life where I've actually stepped in poop because people were just too lazy to pick up their dog's feces. So that's the thing I don't like about America, how dirty we are. And going to Japan made me realize that we could do better in keeping our environment clean. Second thing, eating out is very expensive in America. What I don't like about American culture is that we have a culture of fast food. And I think compared to Japan, more Americans eat out than Japanese do. But not only that, I think the quality of food from restaurants, especially fast food restaurants, are very much poorer and they're more cheap and not good for you compared to Japan. When I was in Japan, I remember going to one of those like fast food chains where like you pretty much pay in a machine for a ticket. Then you give the ticket to the waiter and the waiter gives you a meal. And I remember like a beef bowl was of like 350 yen and it filled me up. In America, if I was to buy that same thing in America, most stores will probably have it at like $7, probably $10. Like, I like how in Japan, you can get quality food that fills you up for cheap. While in America, many of our fast food chains have added GMOs, more unnatural ingredients, and a lot more sugar. So it's meant to be addictive, easy to make, poor in quality, but it's very expensive. So I miss that fact about Japan, where the food, you can find a lot more quality food for a cheaper price. Also, I love the fact that the nature of tipping doesn't exist in Japan. It would be nice if you can tip people that you feel like really gave you good service. But in America, even though you don't have to tip, culturally it's so strong to tip that you're kind of forced to. And a lot of times, especially, it's hard because you can get a bad waiter and then you feel obligated to tip. But like, I mean, of course, if a waiter is not serving you right, you don't tip. But I just like the fact that I didn't have to worry about having to tip somebody when eating out. I can just get my food and leave. But it would be nice in Japan if it was possible to tip a waiter, just out of, the goodness of your heart, if they gave you good service. But I don't like tipping, but I have to do it anyway. And again, it's part of the culture. Also, because generally speaking, I feel Japanese customer service is 10 times better than America. You get more professionalism, while in America, depending on where you go, if you go to more like exquisite or expensive places, the quality of service increases. But if you're more like a typical restaurant chain, a lot of time the waiters are either rude or they complain about their problems, all kind of stuff. Like, there's no professionalism as much compared to Japan. Third cultural difference I don't like in America is that Americans are rude. I remember I mentioned this in my culture shock video, but when I returned back to America, I realized how rude Americans can be. Again, in Japan, they really do prize on customer service and showing professionalism. Even if they didn't mean it, at least I appreciated the fact that they didn't allow their emotions or whatever to affect me. They just kept it going. Like, you do your job, you keep it going. In America, I came back. They don't treat you with respect. They say all kind of things to you. Like, I remember when I came in the airport, and even the TSA that was like kind of questioning me, like, it was like rude. Like, you don't even know me, and like you're acting like you're better than me, or like just how you're talking to me. I don't feel respected. And I get why there's some people from other countries that come to America and they do say Americans are rude or selfish. And again, it depends where you are, because people generally in the country or the suburbs tend to be a lot more kinder. But if you're in more populated areas or metropolitan areas, you're gonna find a bit more rude people. One thing that I appreciated in Japan is that people weren't on their phone on the bus or on the train. So there was a sense of peace. So sometimes you just wanna fall asleep, but then you have like screaming people on the phone. I remember literally the other day I was on the bus and this woman was cussing out her baby daddy, saying, "Oh, you're gonna beat me up, or I'm gonna beat you up, or you're gonna kick my ass, I'm gonna kick your ass." It's like who wants to hear that? Like, I understand that, you want to be on the phone. I don't mind people being on the phone, but when you're so loud that everyone on the bus can hear it, it gets annoying. Sometimes I do appreciate the fact that America is a very much an individualistic society, but sometimes it's like, think of the group for once. Like, I personally don't be on the phone when I'm on the bus because I just think it's uncomfortable for me, but I just wish that people would be a little bit more considerate of others on public transportation. And other times also skipping lines. Sometimes you find Americans who just skip in front of you and give no regard for you. And I just hate that sense of like, not thinking about the group. That's one thing I will praise about Japan to a degree, is that the fact that like Japanese tend to also care about what the group thinks or how this affects everyone else around them. I wish we could have a little bit of that in American society, because I've experienced that with people coming in front in line of me and act like nothing big happened, and it's just annoying. Number 4, efficient transportation, or should I say the lack of it. I currently live in South Florida and we have one of the worst metro systems in the country. Our buses often take 2 hours in between times. The buses often don't come on time. I remember when I used to work at the hospital years ago, a lot of times I would be late for work because my bus was late. I often arrived at the bus stop at least 10 minutes early, and still, even after the time it was supposed to come, the bus driver was still late. And that's one thing I appreciated in Japan, was that everything was on time. I remember when I was even taking the Shinkansen, I was really paranoid about missing my train, because if the train is leaving at 2:15, the train is leaving at 2:15. In America, there's a bit more leeway and grace with transportation, because usually depending on the driver, it may leave on time or a little later. But in Japan, everything was on point, which I appreciated, but also kept me on my toes as well. And I wish that Americans strive for perfection as far as efficient transportation, the way that Japan does. Also, it's very clean. I mean, public transportation in America is very dirty. Buses are filled with graffiti and trash and food, and it smells. And oftentimes when I come home from traveling on the bus, I just throw my clothes directly in the washing bin, because I'm like, how many germs do I have on me from riding these public transportation? So not on time, and they tend to be very filthy. Japan is 10 times better when it comes to public transportation. In number 5, safety. I would say, depending on where you live in America, some areas are not as bad as others. Like in my area that I live in, there's not much crime that happens, but there's still a lot of sketchy people that are around me. And what I liked about Japan was that, relatively speaking, Japan is definitely a safer country, where I didn't feel I have to like look out and watch my back for people, because Japan is generally safe. Even recently, I had my bike stolen, which has never happened to me before, because in the area that I often visit, there's more businesses that are coming in. And I see that the plaza is becoming more populated, and I had left my bike somewhere for a quick second to come back, and it was gone. So to me, it's like, even if you don't live in like, say, a really crime-filled city or town, you still have to have some sense of precaution, because Americans, generally speaking, there's a lot of sketchy people around here. And I like that when I was in Japan, I didn't have to necessarily pay too much attention to my surroundings or wonder if this area is too sketchy or not. I think Japan definitely is a lot safer in a lot of aspects compared to America. So those are 5 things I don't like about American culture after I visited Japan. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. So if you guys enjoyed the video, please smash the like button, smash the subscribe button. Also hit that bell as well to get notified whenever we post a video. ありがとうございます。みんな気をつけて。じゃあね。